Thank you. I'm going to stay in my house today.
Good evening, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order. This is the Central Falls School District Board of Trustees December meeting on this Tuesday, December 17th. It is 5:33 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order and we will just do a roll call. Annette Martinez.
Present.
Carol Pagan.
Present.
Felicia Levasseur.
Present.
Tom Evans.
Present.
Andrew Bramson, I am also present. We are at a quorum and also expecting Hugo Figueroa, who said that he was attending. So with that, we'll continue with our open session agenda item, public comment. We invite members of the public to, first of all, can we just do translation? Someone, Carol, and that announce that we have Spanish and Portuguese translation available to online viewers.
Si están interesados en recibir traducción, por favor, indíquelo en el chat.
Gracias. We invite members of the public to provide feedback to the Board of Trustees. We do that through a public comment period. There's an opportunity to do that in person or virtually. There's a sign-up sheet here. Is anybody manning the sign-up sheet there? Joy, do you see if we have anybody signed up for public comment? There is no public comment. Diego, do we have any public comment? People interested in providing public comment online tonight? We do not. I will give it a rundown of 10 seconds. And with that, we will close public comment. We'll move on to our next agenda item, which is consider and vote on a motion to enter into executive session. I will entertain a motion to do that and would ask that the person that makes the motion read the agenda item. Are we going with which one are we going with? The statement down below here?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're, whoever's making the motion, you would say, start with your motion and then begin with pursuant to down there on the footnote. Do I have a motion? Motion. So go ahead. So I'm going to say motion, go into enter into executive session and then read this.
Motion to enter executive session pursuant to 42-46-5A1, that the individuals to be discussed in executive session have been notified in advance in writing and advised that they may require that this discussion be held at any open meeting. The changes to the agenda will be posted on the school district website and at least publication is required by RIGL 4265.
I will stop you there. So we have a motion to enter into executive session per Rhode Island General Law 46-5A, and we have items on the agenda as such. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. This is a roll call vote. Annette Martinez.
Present.
You say aye?
Aye. Sorry.
Aye. Carol Pagan.
Aye.
Hugo Figueroa, first of all, declare yourself as present in the meeting. Present. And voting on the executive motion, aye. Felicia Levasseur.
Aye.
Tom Evans.
Aye.
I am also an aye. We are now in executive session. Board members or staff or general counsel we will ask you to excuse yourself. We anticipate realistically any questions? Can I ask about the sorry, I didn't see you.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Sure.
Sandra is the one that worked at the high school, right?
She
before.
did.
Which I know before she tried to get permit for her mom to go to Colombia, something like that, because she was sick. Do you know? Was that one of the cases that she resigned or?
I certainly don't want to speak to anyone's personal stuff, and I don't know the mom's context. But she has not been at the high school for a while and then just effectively resigned.
Any questions? Okay. I saw that we have a speech language pathologist retire. Is that a position that is going to be filled? How easily is that position filled?
So great question. Since Sheila had told us this over the summer, we actually started posting months in advance, figuring it would be better to have an additional SLP than be down one. So we're actually in a good place. We actually will have 2 SLPs retiring this year. So we are grateful for their service and have a plan in place to make sure there's no lapse of services to kids.
Thank you. Let's move on. We have a motion. I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes from our November 26th board meeting. I will ask that board member Figueroa abstain due to his absence in the last meeting. The minutes are in your packet and you had them in advance. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
Motion.
Is there a second? Board member made by board member Pagan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by board member Martinez. Any questions? Any discussion? Hearing none, those signify in support by saying aye. Any opposed? I am also an aye. The motion carries. We have the superintendent's update.
Great. So tonight I just have relatively few updates. Oh, there you go. There we go. There have been some wonderful celebrations of student growth and achievement since we were last together. So just wanted to share photos from celebrating all of our honor roll students at the high school, an incredible family literacy night at Captain Hunt where Pete the cat made an appearance. Yeah, yeah. Our wonderful librarian, Miss Mancini, is under the.
Don't tell people.
Hopefully the kids aren't streaming it. But you have to give her credit where credit is due. And then during one of my balcony days where I'm principal for the day here at Raices in the middle, we thought it was very generous of Alyssa to give me that duty to get to celebrate all the kids while I covered for her. So we celebrated Student of the Month on each English and Spanish side across all the grade levels at Raices. So just really incredible kids doing really incredible work throughout the district, and we're excited to celebrate them. In addition to their academic achievements, just last week we had the opportunity to bring together our musicians, our young singers and guitarists, and just incredible talent. And this was the first time we included all 7 schools. So even our youngest from Hunt came up and sang, and they were phenomenal. Just huge kudos to all of our music teachers. They even did a few songs as an entire pre-K to 12 chorus, and it was so moving. But the most moving part is actually if you were to pan away from this and see the families that came out. This was last week during that torrential downpour, high winds. We debated canceling. It was so intense out there, and there was not, it was standing room only. It was just incredible to see so many families celebrating their kids, singing multilingually. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Couple updates of things that you might have heard in the news, but wanted to share, especially related to the presentation last month. And you all had such great questions for the high school team of, you know, what are we going to do to make sure that we're really addressing the PSAT, SAT significant progress that's needed. Well, Rhode Island has a first of its kind partnership with Khan Academy and their new AI tool, Khanmigo, that's going to be accessible to all high schoolers statewide. But we're just really excited. Both Chief Academic Officer Souza, as well as our Assistant Principal for Academic Supports, Martin Quick, have already had those first meetings with Khan Academy. And we're both so energized. Our students will have opportunities to engage with historical figures through AI, to just really engaging learning, things we've really never seen before. Khan Academy sort of leading the way in some of this AI learning. So we're grateful that the state has made this accessible to all high schoolers for the next 18 months. So more on that to come, but just another tool in the toolbox to really specifically support high school learners and PSAT, SAT prep.
I have a question.
Yeah.
During what time of the day will they be doing?
They'll have access to it at home, or some of those structures we still need to design.
Okay.
So if we want to ensure that there is like held time and space to do it. Joy, I don't know if you want to speak to any of that. It's just rolling out.
planning meeting on the books, and we're just waiting for Amigo and Ryan to send us resources that kind of outline more of the details than what we learned on the webinar with them, and then we'll start the planning process. But we do have a period during the day that's really used for acceleration, interventions, and then also used for things like this, for helping students to prepare for state assessments. And so we know we'll be able to work it into that block.
Mhm. And hopefully a really engaging and personalized way. Also some wonderful updates. So as you know, one of our strategic initiatives is around expanding our CTE program. So we got great news since we were all last together. 2 more of our high school programs that we've been developing received full approval. So our law and advocacy, as well as our teaching academy. So we're thrilled that those are now official. And as many of you know and have approved the food truck, well, broader than the food truck, we are conditionally approved for a food entrepreneurship CTE program. So really not just the cooking that's happening, but how are they running this as a business? And so we're really excited. We just have our educators who are just going through the certification to be able to teach those courses. And that's the reason it's conditional and not fully approved. But the addition of these 3 CTE programs means more grants that we are able to receive, more kids getting college credits, industry certifications, and just overall incredible opportunities. So we're really, really grateful for the work happening in CTE at the high school.
At an upcoming meeting, I think it would be helpful for us to sort of see the overall CTE landscape.
Great.
And also an understanding of, in addition to the courses that students are getting access to through CTE, what courses are they not potentially getting access to that would be more part of a core academic component
Sure.
of a non-CTE student. So I think I want us to see both the there's a value add, but it comes with subtractions. And I think that we should be really mindful of what those additions are and what those compromises are.
Great. Yeah, we can plan that for early 2025.
I have a question. Are there caps for that? Obviously, there have to be caps for each of the CTE programs, right? What happens if a student does not get what they want?
We haven't run into that just yet, since so many of our programs are new. But that's a great question, and one we can certainly ensure that our director, Christina, who oversees CTE, speaks to that. I'll add that to the note for that presentation. High demand. Great questions. All right. An opportunity I just wanted to share with the board, but the broader community. So as some folks may know, RIDE has put forth new regulations for multilingual learners. And anytime there are proposed regulations, there's an opportunity for public comment. So in the same way that the families can come and give public comment here, it's our collective opportunity to give comments on, what do we love, what do we want to make sure stays, and what would we want them to rethink in these new regulations. We are hosting one of those. So there's sessions statewide, but just that yellow arrow emphasizes right here in the Calcut Media Center on January 14th at 5 o'clock. We'll have that opportunity for teachers, families, students, board members, anyone who wants to give comments to RIDE. They'll be hosting that here. So really encourage people to learn more. I've included a link, but we're also going to be sending out a lot of great resources multilingually to families, so everyone is aware of what they're proposing. The good news is Central Falls School District is already doing a lot of the things that are proposed. So for example, one of the proposed new regulations is ensuring that a higher percentage of teachers have that certification to support students who are English learners. Well, we put that in our contract 3 years ago. So there are certainly things that would shift for us, and we're constantly looking at these and figuring out how to be prepared should these all get approved. But we feel really confident too that the right work is underway.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
One thing that concerned me when I saw them, when I read them, was there's going to be a high need for educators.
Yeah.
And there's going to be districts that are going to provide incentives to try and take teachers who are already fully certified.
Mhm.
So if we could have that in the back of our mind, that they're going to be highly sought after.
Thank you. Yeah, and it in many ways parallels what you probably know as a dual language educator, that unfortunately sometimes it means programs are poaching from each other when there's a shortage of that specialty.
Already.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. So we'll be sure to share a lot as that date approaches. So very hot off the presses today, just 2.5 hours ago, RIDE released their accountability measures. So this is not going to be super in-depth, but as part of my update, I did want to speak to a lot of great progress that happened coming out of last school year. So we of course know that growth and achievement and graduation remain a key focus area. And we're really pleased to see how much progress we're making in areas of English language proficiency, Diploma Plus, like CTE programs, as well as school quality and student success, which is part of attendance and also survey work, some of those other factors. So the thing that I really want to celebrate tonight, are you guys familiar with the comprehensive support and improvement schools? So we have had schools in CSI status for pretty much the history of CSI status. When I first came to the district, we had 3 schools, Vets, Calcutt, and the high school, meaning over 66%, 2/3 of kids in Central Falls School District were in a CSI school. So that means one of the lowest 5%. We got Vets off the list. As of last year, we had 2 schools, but our 2 largest. So it was still half of our students were in a CSI school. I'm getting choked up. And as of today, we have no schools in the bottom 5%. So huge congratulations to Calcutt and Central Falls High School. Both schools have exited CSI status and 0 students in CFSD attend a CSI school. So we are incredibly proud. And there is so much more important work. Like getting out of the bottom 5% is not by any means even a moment to rest. Celebrate, yes, but I think we're really excited that it means a lot of the right work is underway and we need to keep going and keep accelerating. But just want to celebrate that because it took incredible collaboration of all of our staff and families and everyone working together on everything from attendance to achievement to reducing suspensions. I mean, all of that goes into how they calculate those measures. So we could not be more proud. Also want to celebrate incredible English language proficiency growth. As you can see, our elementary schools, all 3 of them, are really showing great progress. So those longer blue bars represent Raices and Vets and LRS. We still have a lot of work to do in this area, especially for our older students. And so that's something we're going to need to unpack when we have more than 2.5 hours with the data. But are really pleased with the momentum, especially at elementary. Chronic absenteeism, and shout out to Maria, who's here and has been leading so much of these efforts to see that all of our schools have reduced their chronic absenteeism rate. We already have 2 schools. We talked about this a little bit last month, but officially both Raices and Raices Upper are already below the 15%, which was our 5-year goal in our strategic plan. So that positive momentum is just so exciting, and it yields incredible benefits to kids to have them in school so consistently. So thank you to everyone who's worked on that, especially Maria and the full teams in every school. Just going to go through each school quickly, and again, we can go into depth on anything once we've had the data a little longer, but Captain Hunt doesn't officially get a star rating because they're a pre-K only school, but they did have really strong performance in that school quality and student success, which really speaks to their attendance improvement efforts. Central Falls High School, that CTE work that we celebrated earlier is what is bringing them into that mid-level performance for Diploma Plus. So as a reminder, your school rating is still your lowest performing category. So even though we start to see 2-star and 3-star measures, it will still be considered a 1-star school, but that progress is what pulled it out of that CSI status. So again, something to celebrate and so much more work to do. Here at Calcut, they officially did earn a 2nd star. So they've been a 1-star school for many years, but pulled everything, including achievement and growth, above. So yeah, that's a huge, huge win for kids and learning. So they are our one school that actually went up in their star rating this year. So congrats to Calcut. I'm gonna pause. It looks like you might have questions from the board. Do you want me to?
Keep going.
Oh, keep going. Okay. Ella Risk, really incredible work with reducing chronic absenteeism for that school quality and student success. And English language proficiency went all the way up to 4 stars there. So really great work happening for our multilingual learners at Ella Risk. Vets also got 4 stars in English language proficiency. So we are just thrilled to see. They also got 4 stars in that student, the quality and student success, and 2 stars in growth and achievement. So again, so much more work to do, but the work is gaining traction. Raices Upper, so our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders in our dual language program, 4 stars for school quality and student success, improvement on the achievement and growth from 1 star last year, and English language proficiency. This is something I think we're going to need to look into because clearly the dual model is really working for the pre-K to 5, but not in the same way in our dual language secondary. So we'll have to dig in there in the new year. But 5 stars for Raices lower, our primary Raices for English language proficiency, our first category to hit 5 stars. So we're so thrilled, and it is so powerful to think when kids have the opportunity to learn in both languages, what that does for their English language proficiency. So kudos to all the schools. There is clear, as we shared the pins, slopes over points, the growth is happening. And then just wanted to take a moment. Again, we don't have 3, 4, 5 and star schools yet, which is what the vision is in our strategic plan. But when you pull out these categories, it is just so exciting to see 3 stars in multiple schools, 4 stars in multiple schools, and our first 5-star category. So congrats to everyone on all the hard work there. And that's it for the updates. I'm going to hold those slides for new business.
Any questions on, we're definitely going to have a much deeper dive of the accountability at either the January or February meeting. The data here is way more comprehensive than just talking about RICAS scores. And so expect that we will have a deeper dive on that, but this was certainly a good preview, and congratulations to everyone for continuing to make important incremental progress. Okay. We are now going to turn to old business. We have a safe schools policy. We have Director Hare here. This is the second reading, so our expectation is that we will have an update, and then I will ask the board to vote to approve the safe schools policy. Director Hare, welcome back.
Hi. All right, so we have our second read for the safe schools policy tonight. There weren't any major changes made from last time, but there are just a few areas that I wanted to highlight. Thank you. So I believe you have a copy with the changes that I made there. But generally, I'm just going to go over the broad strokes here. So for one piece of feedback that we received is that a lot of decision making was coming back just to the superintendent, and it would be better if that decision making power was distributed amongst other district administrators and other district personnel as well. So we've decided to create something that we're calling an immigration enforcement response committee. And essentially, if an ICE agent or some other immigration enforcement agent comes to a school or a school sponsored event to see students or families, we are asking that person to reach out to this committee rather than to the superintendent. And then the committee will reach out to the legal counsel in the district to see if the search warrant or whatever documentation they provide is legally warranted and if we have to comply with it. So that's really the big change there. This will have 5 positions to be nominated by the superintendent and then approved by the Board of Trustees. I have this as annually, but obviously that is something we can discuss if we want to change that to biannually or some other measurement. And then if a vacancy on this committee happens, then the superintendent would nominate a new person to fill the position. And then again, that would require board approval. The other thing we did was to, again, sort of remove just the 1 point person. So initially, if a secretary were to be confronted by an immigration enforcement agent, she or he or they was to reach out to the school principal. I just changed that wording to school administrator, so it could be any of the school leaders. One other change that we made was that if any evidence of detention at the border or some other immigration enforcement was on student paperwork. So for example, if a child is kept at a detention center at the border, a lot of the time they're like immunizations and health history will have sort of that branding across the top. And so if anyone were to come across that in the district, the original plan was to have them notify the superintendent, who would then destroy the evidence there and make sure the records are kept as necessary, but to remove that branding. And now we're switching that to whoever finds it according to school policies, which we'll set up with the implementation process. They'll be allowed to destroy that so that it goes through fewer hands to get to the superintendent. And then lastly, in one section where we mentioned paperwork that might be turned in voluntarily, I just added the Office of Refugee Services, did not include that before. And I also added like any other federal office or state or local or government officials, so that it's a broad category there. So that's the main changes.
Thank you. Any questions? If there are no questions, I will entertain a motion to present the Safe Schools policy as presented, 10.12 Safe Schools policy, with the red line changes approved. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion made by Board Member Pagan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Board Member Figueroa. Any discussion? Any questions? I want to congratulate everyone working on this really important timely proposal. That will be my discussion.
Same here. Less
Any
of a discussion and more of a
compliment.
compliment. Thank you for being
Okay.
forward thinking and preemptive and broad in your scope of it, so that we can keep children and families safe.
Yep. With that, call for a vote. All those in support of accepting the policy as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I am also an aye. The policy passes. Congratulations. Moving on to new business. We have consideration and vote for a third smart clinic. This one to be at Ella Risk Elementary School, and I will turn it over to the superintendent for her
Great.
presentation.
Great. So as the board knows, we have we opened our first smart clinic 3 school years ago here at Calcut. Then last school year, we opened a clinic at Vets, and those clinics have received a lot of very positive feedback from Brown Medical School, from different funders, from CVS directly, and the SMART team has advocated to those big supporters of their mission to continue to expand access to smart clinics in the Central Falls School District, because the partnership has been so collaborative. So they have fully secured all the funding to add a clinic at Ella Risk at no cost to the district. So the document in your packet today actually does not require a board vote or signature, but wanted to make you aware just because it is an exciting thought to keep expanding access to this model. I did include a couple slides just to show you how impactful the collaboration has been, so you can see even with a very strong first year at Calcut, continue to increase the number of students seen and supported by the clinics. Even this year, 70 days into the school year, there have been over 2,300 visits to the Smart Clinic. So averaging 33 visits a day here. And then we're seeing also incredible growth at vets in their second year. And they are seeing 15 visits per day. So keep in mind, smaller student population, smaller clinic, but really pleased with what we're seeing at both schools and the positive impact that's having not only on kids, both medical, like physical and behavioral health, but also their ability to participate and be in attendance at school to learn. So just that is an exciting premise. Do just want to note there's still exciting conversations about a fourth clinic too, which would be at the new high school. And we're having collaborative meetings with SMART, the district, and Blackstone Valley Community Health Center to see if there could be a great collaboration in the new high school. So more on that in the new year, but the current proposed vision would be to do the construction for this third clinic over the summer. So we wouldn't, at one point we thought maybe we could do it either over the holiday break or one of the vacations, but ultimately there's enough construction needed that we'll wait until the last day of school in June and be ready to open the Ella Clinic in the fall.
Hold on, forgotten, please.
Will that take any space from the learning, from the academic?
Great question. So if you visited Ella Risk, it's unique in that until about 2 years ago, the whole basement was the district office. So what they're planning to do is shift, use the existing faculty room, which has the plumbing for the bathrooms and an empty classroom next to it, and convert that into the Smart Clinic. And then as an appreciation, redo the downstairs to be a really beautiful teacher lounge. So no needed space would be lost. If anything, I think we're just enhancing the lower level, the basement, to be more attractive and inviting and use that space.
And they will take the cost of that building?
They do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was thinking for that question. Did you have a question, Felicia? No?
Oh, yeah,
Please.
kind of.
Go ahead.
I was just wondering, I'm really glad to hear that it could be up for the high school next, just because I think that, I was just wondering how they decided for Ella Risk, just because I feel like the high school students are like, with everything they get into in high school, so they have such a high need for it. So I was just wondering how they made the decision to do Ella Risk, instead of.
They have been talking to us about being in the new high school since early drawings. So the current drawings are inclusive of the clinic to align with the SMART model. And we would love to hopefully see a collaboration with this, local medical team as well. So those are the conversations we're trying to navigate right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a question because I know that I believe in the initial agreements, the smart clinics were privately funded for the first 3 years.
Mhm.
We're now getting to the point where we're ending the 3 year for our first smart clinic. So what can you tell me about what the future funding for these clinics looks like after that 3-year installment has passed?
Great question. Everything right now is on track to be fully self-sustaining. The model is actually getting quite a bit of attention, where SMART is having some statewide conversations and figuring out how to even look at some different rates that would make it even more accessible for all schools. So those are very active conversations right now. So I'll have better updates in the new year.
But what you're saying is that there are a lot of financial models in play, and none of them involve the smart clinic ultimately billing the district for services.
No, we don't anticipate any cost to the district.
Just
It'll
wanna make
be
sure.
fully self-sustaining.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, great.
yeah. No, that was really important.
Okay.
And one of the reasons they give you that 3-year runway.
So what are you asking for here?
It was more, there was
Just an
a,
update.
it was an update.
Okay, just an
Yeah.
update. Okay, any other questions? Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion made. Is there a second?
Okay.
Second by Board Member Martinez. I saw her first. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? We are officially adjourned for 2024. Congratulations on a wonderful first full year of board operations for many of you. We have our next meeting on the 28th of January. I hope everyone has a wonderful, safe, and enjoyable holiday season. And we will. And it's the next birthday today.
Yes.
Oh, happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Wow, thanks for being here.
Thank you. We got you out early. Happy birthday.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you so much, everyone. Great to be with you all.
You.